We'll see how she goes. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, I'm going to be going over a 2022 Dodge Durango RT. First and foremost, so a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry Miller Dodge Ram here in Sandy, Utah for giving me some time with this Durango. Check out the inventory in the description down below. And on a side note, I just released my car buying course that'll help you save time and money the next time you purchase a car. It's very affordable. Link in the description to that as well. Let's get into the video. So under the hood, we have a naturally aspirated 5.7 liter Hemi V8 that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 14 around town and then 22 on the highway, with power outputs being 360 horsepower and then 390 pound-feet of torque. Now let's go over the front end of the Durango RT. So you guys can see that we have the sport hood here with all of the venting. Looks fantastic and gives it a muscular appearance. And then you can see down below we've got the LED accent lights that are wrapped around the projector bulb, and then you can see the reflector LED off to the side. And then we have the performance front fascia with the Dodge logo, fog lights off to the side that kind of goes down into a teardrop. And you guys can see the venting here at the bottom and the parking sensors and the sensor that's integrated there into the front. And overall, they've made some subtle changes to the Durango, and I think they look great. Now coming around the side here, I've got two 65mm tires wrapped around 20-inch wheels in the front and over in the rear as well. And then you guys can see the coloration on the wheels. It's dark metallic gray, which I think looks fantastic with the rest of the kind of accenting on the RT. Notice we got the body painted fender flares. We have our blacked out Hemi badge right there. Notice the mirrors are body painted, and then everything around the windows is all blacked out, so it kind of has that sporty blacked out theme. And well, here's your full side view. So here's a key fob for the Durango. Notice we got the Dodge logo there on the back. We have our unlock, lock, opening for the hatch, and then the remote start. So we just press that twice, and well, it'll normally pop open the hatch. I totally pressed it too many times, so that was user error. Anyways, you guys can see popping here into the rear, we've got all of our floor mats here in the back. We've got the 12 volt right there. We've got the lowering for the hatch, and then the seats, you do have to just lower them yourselves. So you just basically pull that, throw it forward, and you get a little bit of extra storage space. I like the plaques back here. But if you want to pull it back, strap, and then you have to pull up the headrest yourself manually as well. And yeah, that's pretty much all for the rear. So we're just gonna press that button right there. And notice that it gives you a few seconds before it actually starts going down and like beeps for a little bit so that you can actually get out from under it. Now let's finish things up here with the rear. You guys can see the LED light bar here in the back. We've got the RT logo down below and then the Durango logo all blacked out. And then you guys can see here we've got the receiver hitch there under that bezel because it does have the tow package, dual exhaust tips, and there's a Durango also. There's a 1500, so you guys can kind of see the size comparison. Now here's the door panel in the rear. You guys can see this piece of trim, and then we've got the leather down below with the red contrasted stitching, couple speakers for the sound system. And then here are these seats. So we've got these captain chairs. You guys can see nice leather here, the Dodge logo, perforated leather here in the center, and then you guys can see the stitching all throughout, the adjustments here on the seats. Now the driver's seat is pushed back farther than what I would normally have it at. So like you have to be like well over 6 foot to have it in this section, but you guys can see what it would look like. That's more normal with that leg room. You guys can see here with the vents, we've got USBs, we've got a full power outlet, we've got heated seats, all the fun stuff. Now as for the third row, just like other SUVs in this segment, Ford Explorer, Kia Telluride, I'd reserve the third row for kids, for long trips. For short trips you can cram adults back there, but it's not the most comfortable. And then notice we've got the climate controls here at the top because this has a tri-zone climate system, and well, let's head to the front. Now here's the door panel at the front. You guys can see the trim piece that goes across. Again, we've got the leather down below with the red stitching. All of our window controls, the front two are automatic. Got the mirror adjustments, and then you guys can see here with the memory seat function. Got blind spot monitoring for the mirrors. Got that for the Harman Kardon sound system. And here's the front seat. So you can see again with the leather. Got the Dodge logo, perforated leather here down the center. All of our adjustments there on the side of the seat. Pedal layout just down below. We've got our light control right here, and again more of that red stitching. And notice there's padding on the dash with more red stitching. Steering wheel is power adjustable, and there's where we'll look before we pop in. So here is our steering wheel with the Durango. You guys can see you've got really nice leather here at the top and at the bottom. Perfect leather here on the side. Paddle shifters for the 8-speed automatic. Got our cruise control with the adaptive cruise control. Phone controls. Got controls for the center stack. There are radio controls on the back. Got our turn signal windshield wiper stock. And there's the steering wheel. Now you guys can see here with the center gauge cluster, you've got analog gauges for most of these setup, and then you can see the screen here in the center. You can scroll through, see different bits of information. We've got the performance timer, for example, so you guys can do your 0 to 100 in your Dodge Durango when you got the, well, probably wouldn't recommend doing that with the kiddos in the back. Aside from that, we do have a sport mode, which will pop on here as well, which is pretty cool, and that's all. We've got the updated infotainment system. First off, if we pop it into reverse, you guys can see backup camera with trajectory lines. You do turn with the steering wheel. No 360 camera system or anything like that. First off, response time with the screen is great. We've got navigation. You guys can see how that responds. And then you can see the climate tab. We've got heated ventilated seats, heated steering wheel, and then we've got the dual zone climate for the front. And overall it's easy to use, and of course we've got the headrest fold, which is a very important feature in the Durango. Down below we've got all of our analog controls for stuff like the heated cooled seats, climate controls, the radio controls, and they definitely have like a nice feel to them. We've got a drive mode select in this area, so you got your sport mode and then the eco mode off. We've got the hazard light button, stability control, parking sensors, lane departure, and then you guys can see with the wireless phone charger, got the USBs all in that area, shifter for the 8-speed automatic, and notice that we've got our low range that you can go into that'll help with like backing into a driveway if you have a trailer, for example. A couple cup holders, and then you can see here with the whole center console setup, pretty nice little setup. It's got the 2 different layers, and again notice that red stitching with the padding, and it's all over the dash, so it definitely feels a lot more premium here in the interior. We have a little charging port right there, and then pretty normal glove box setup. Popping up top here we have Le sunroof. Got the controls for the sunroof right here, universal garage door openers, and then you guys can see we have the premium headliner, which definitely makes the interior feel a lot nicer because you've got the nice dash, and then you have it on the pillars and the whole headliner and everything, and I don't know, just feels nice. Normal mirror. So I've got our window sticker here for this Durango. You guys can see the base price before options are added. If you want to read the standard equipment, then feel free to read the standard equipment. But anyways, optional equipment. So you guys can see, got quite a few options on this. The 22C package, definitely worth it if you want a loaded up Durango. But anyways, there's the total MSRP, $62,375. Let's take it out and see how it drives. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off. There's visibility of the hood, both mirrors, which do have blind spot monitoring, and then throughout the rest of the rear. And let's set off. Oh, setting off here in the Durango RT, and it's been quite a bit of time since I've driven one of these, but let's talk about it. Nonetheless, definitely a cool vehicle. Okay, you can go first, Lexus, even though, whatever. Anyways, setting off sounds great. Steering is very light. It's definitely a plus for a vehicle like this. And the suspension is actually very compliant as well. It's a comfortable vehicle to drive around. So that is all a plus if you ask me. Yeah, going over this. Yeah, very compliant, very comfortable. So that is definitely a big plus. And overall, it's easy to drive. It's comfortable and it's easy to drive. So I'll say that's good. Pop into the sport mode. Instantly downshifts, gets a little bit more aggressive. Steering feels the same. One thing I like about the Durango is it feels sporty. Like the suspension is comfortable, but it just feels tighter. This feels like it handles a little bit better than like your average SUV. And overall, I like how it drives. It's a third row SUV, but it has this sportiness that a lot of other third row SUVs just don't have, especially like this particular segment. And a lot of them don't have the powertrain either that this has, right? This still has a naturally aspirated V8, and so it's got, you know, all the benefits that you get with a naturally aspirated V8. And you know what? We are in the worst possible traffic situation of all time. Are you actually going to turn, sir? Yes, you are. Okay, we'll take this and go. Sounds so good. Got the timer on, even though I'm not going to hit 100 miles an hour ever. Let's pop it to the 0 to 60. And there you go, 0 to 60 timer, not 100 miles an hour. Because we're never going to get to 100 miles an hour. Gear shifts are very smooth, so that's another big plus. Okay, and we'll see how she goes. Sounds great, and the gear shifts are very smooth with this 8-speed automatic. You don't really feel it with the shifting, which I think is a big plus, because then it kind of gives you like a luxury type feel. Sounds great. Definitely love the sound. Take it out of the sport mode now. So let's sum things up here with this Durango RT. Exterior wise, with the black top package, I think it looks great. It's got that cool blacked out sporty appearance. Interior wise, the Durango I feel like has come a long way. Seats are great, they're very comfortable. And then, you know, a lot of the touch points feel nice. The shifter feels nice, right? Doesn't have a dial shifter. You've got nice steering wheel. The dash doesn't necessarily feel the nicest, but it looks nice. And it's not like you're going to be like, are you going to be doing this all day? Probably not. But you're going to look at it and it looks nice because of the stitching. Same thing with the headliner. The headliner definitely looks nice. And it, you know, that actually does feel nice. So yeah, I feel like they've made some nice improvements to bring this up, make it feel a little bit more modern. And so if you kind of want a sportier third row SUV that's also really good at towing, then Durango RT definitely will give you both of those items. Now let's get some things up for our video on this 2022 Dodge Durango. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry Miller Dodge Ram here in Sandy for giving me some time with this Durango. Check out the inventory in the description down below. I'll see you guys.